And we stand, and honestly, where's the countdown? I missed the countdown. It's me, Victoria Lang, Robert Benjamin from I'll Piss You Off Shortly. I know you watched that episode last night. It was great. And I'm here with Joe Aguirre. And
Wait a minute. Wait. She's like, that was an incredible episode of Rob's show last night.
3.5 hours of amazing.
Oh, so Joe is here. I felt like I'm getting no credit for that show.
well, where's the countdown?
I didn't know you. I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't. I passed on a countdown.
I liked it. It was my favorite part of the show last week. I just was like rewinding the countdown. Like, let me watch that again. It was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Connor's not here yet, and I don't know if he's coming. I'm assuming he's probably hanging out on Parlor.
Whatever that.
Oh, he has a Parlor account.
You know what Parlor is?
No.
Maybe I should make a Parlor account.
Oh my God,
What's
Rob.
Parlor?
I think
That's where all the conservatives went since the election ended.
I think that's
no good.
No, get this, Victoria. This is a real thing. I swear to God.
Maybe I should download it.
Oh yeah,
now
it's
Like,
called
take a
Parlor,
sneak peek.
which is adorable. These people are hanging out in their parlors, and it's taken like not even a month, but then they've realized that there's no libtards to own. So it sucks. It's like living in a giant echo chamber. They're like, the election's rigged, and everybody's like, yeah, it is.
it's rigged.
And they're not getting they're not, you know what they're not getting that they get on Facebook? A liberal to tell them the truth about things.
Yeah.
So that they can have a freak out. Instead, they're just all sitting on this social media app like idiots, hoping that something magically is going to happen.
At this point, I've just let people look stupid. Just let them look stupid. Everything that I see that's like, Trump gonna come through. He gonna come through. Just watch. I'm like, okay, I will watch. I just don't even say anything anymore because I just don't even. We've secured the bag officially. As of today, I got another notification. He won something else in the Senate. I'm not even really paying attention. But I know that Joe Biden has secured the bag officially.
I will say this. I've seen so many damn conspiracy theories of how Trump's going to come back and steal this election from Pence, from somebody, I guess, what is it, denying or I can't think of the name, but anyway, somebody rebutting, I guess, the electoral votes in Congress when it gets to them, and then how they can all like have like a whole issue with it, and then it can go back to like voting of the Senate. I don't know. I have a whole article that I've been picking through all day today, but apparently, I guess that's the new conspiracy theory that conservatives are leading with, that Pence is gonna, the House representatives are gonna, or the Senate's gonna, somebody's gonna rebuke it or challenge it. There we go. Somebody's gonna challenge it, the electoral votes, and then it's gonna lead to the Senate or the House making votes and something like that. But yeah, that's the new conspiracy theory I'm hearing.
Yeah, I stopped paying attention to all that stuff about a week or two ago because I think we're okay. I think if there was any evidence or anything, it would have came forward because this is.
When Barr leaves, you know that, like, when your own right-hand man says, you know what, I'm out of here.
Like, we'll get into this a little bit further in a second, but real quick, I want to talk about the COVID-19 vaccine. This week, the first person ever got it. It was a registered nurse. She got it on camera. Everybody saw it. She didn't just grow an eyeball or like a horn or anything. Immediately when she was injected, she got up. She was fine, you know what I'm saying? But the CDC did put out a couple articles about when you get vaccinated and what's going to happen after. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to arrive, you're going to receive a vaccination card, and it's going to tell you what vaccine you received, the date you received it, and where you received it. You're going to receive a paper or electronic version of a fact sheet that tells you more about the specific vaccine that you are being affected by and offered. And each COVID-19 vaccine has its own fact sheet that contains the information that you need. That's just because there's different strands of the virus, obviously on the East and the West Coast, and you have to get 2 different vaccines to solidify it. So there's that. And then after vaccination, you're going to need to get 2 shots, like I just said, in order for them to work. The second shot could have side effects after the first one. Like you could feel a little sick. You know what happens after you get a shot. Sometimes your body don't be feeling too good. Ask your healthcare provider if you should be getting started with a vSafe free, a smartphone-based tool that uses text messaging and web surveys to provide personalized health check-ins after you receive the vaccination, just in case you're having any really bad side effects or anything. They'll take you in right away. What is everybody's thoughts on this so far based on what we know? Will everybody be getting it when it's available? We probably won't be able to get it until obviously 2021, probably like July or something.
I would take it right now if you gave it to me.
I wouldn't. I'm waiting.
Rob's really concerned about women in their third trimesters getting it and the long-term effects it can have.
Yeah, women, men, there's so many other things that you don't know with mRNA. If anybody does their research, you'll see how unstable mRNA is, and a matter of 2 to 3 degrees can mess up a whole batch. I mean, so it's unstable. There's so many different questions. There's so many things that they haven't really tested on because it's been so quick. There's so many things, especially as a Black American. Yeah, I don't trust it. I don't trust medical advice. You look at the history of Black America in the medical field, and how like Tuskegee Airmen experiment. You look at Henrietta Lacks. You look at Henrietta Lacks. You look at all these different other situations. Like, yeah, no, I'm good. And especially the way they're pushing it. Like, you don't see them say, hey, white people, y'all got to take this shit. It's, hey, Black people, hey, Latinos. And that's literally the agenda that you're seeing a lot of people pushing, from Fauci, from Biden, from all these celebrities. Are trying to get, hey, Black people got to do this. Y'all got to do it. Look, Fauci's biggest thing was, hey, a Black woman made this, so brothers and sisters, y'all got to take. No, I'm good. Y'all can't even answer questions. When they start asking like the tough questions, they go back to simple base answers. Like, no, we want certain things. There's certain things that y'all haven't tested for. They're still not sure about allergens, allergic reactions. They're still not sure about pregnancy. There's so many things when you go ahead and alter somebody's messenger RNA that is still unstable. So yes, it might affect. Yes, it might help the vaccine or COVID for right now, but like you said, Victoria, we have an East Coast COVID-19, I guess, and a West Coast. What if I move from NYC to Oregon to go ahead and then partake in all the Oregon's festivities? Do I got to get a whole nother
vaccinated? Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So like, that's too many.
Like with the strands of the flu and stuff like that. Like every year, there's a new strand of the flu. I guess think of it that way. Like there's flu A is on this side and flu B is on this side, and one shot isn't going to cover it. I mean, I completely agree with the whole pregnancy thing, just because I know that there is kind of mixed whatever on getting vaccinated in general. When you're pregnant or taking they don't even want you to take ibuprofen or Tylenol or anything like that. When you're pregnant, they don't want you to ingest literally anything foreign that you're not supposed to. But I also really quickly wanted to go through a list of things that we don't know what they're in, because the FDA doesn't have to tell us what they're in. And same thing with literally everything. They don't have to tell us what is in it past a certain point. They can just tell us like the baseline stuff. So here's a list: white bread, soda, all fast food, all store-bought meat, ice cream, milk, Juul pods, cigarettes, inhalers, Nutri-Grain bars, Jell-O, canned vegetables, and everything that you consume, literally that you buy from the grocery store. Unless you butcher in that pig in the backyard, you do not know what's in it. You don't know what preservatives are in it. And especially people who are claiming not to get the vax or who don't want to get the vaccine, all of them got a Juul. All of them vaping.
That's
and
hilarious.
You're right. I do.
And I am guilty of the same thing. Let me tell you that. And I don't know what's in it, but I am going to get the COVID shot.
I'm not saying I'm not going to get it, but right now I'm good. Just like I let all the kids like die off from all their potting, their juuling. Then I said, oh, okay, I'm going to put the Newports down. And I recently picked up a Juul. So, and I don't even know. So.
Look, bottom line is that all healthcare providers are really like, I'd give my right arm to get this at this point. Here's what I do know. Having talked to a doctor friend of mine today, COVID's mutated 6 times since the pandemic started. Current vaccines have been tested against all of them, and they have shown that the mutations are not affecting the identified spike protein that's used in the vaccine technology, which means the vaccine is effective despite mutations of the virus. So I understand that there are probably certain people who they obviously haven't been able to test it on everybody, pregnant women being a big one. But there's no reason at this point to think that anything that is in the vaccine would cause any. There's no expected long-term considerations at this point.
And
At
I
year
know
5.
that this world and this country especially is really fucked up, but I don't believe that they have like separate vials for different race groups.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm insinuating. That's not what I'm insinuating. What I'm saying is that it's hard for me as an African American to trust just something rushed, especially when it seems like that's their biggest ploy right now and their biggest push is you can't say that.
Well, no, I will say that. I will tell you this to be fair.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Fair, hold on. Coronavirus.
I need to finish, Joe.
They've been studying coronavirus since 1960. It's not like this is a new thing.
I understand that. So if it's been since 1960, it shouldn't have been this big old mass hysteria thing, right? If it's been studied since 1960, why are we running around with chickens with our heads cut off right now? Why are they pushing this agenda, this heavy agenda to the African American, the brown community? And you see that. Say it's not true. Say it's not true.
Oh, I mean, if you listen, this might be a matter of perspective, Rob, because I'm not seeing. I don't get the sense that they're like, hey, black people.
Fauci didn't leave with that.
Yeah,
Fauci didn't leave with that.
I'll tell you what I am seeing, though, is there is a big push by a lot of people that they don't want to take it. And they don't really know why. Most of it is, probably. No, I don't mean this. I don't mean this but I think a lot of this is meme inspired. People see memes and they're like, well, what are you going to do?
Have you heard of the Tuskegee Airmen experiment?
I have.
You heard of
Henrietta? Is similar to that? Do you think they're doing this now?
I'm not saying that they're doing this now, but when it seems like the biggest agenda is those specific communities, and that's what their ploy is, where all the politicians, all the celebrities. Let me finish, Joe. Once you keep doing all that, and that's what why is it worth for us? Why do we lean on the African American culture to push your agenda? Don't worry about us. If we decide not to take it, that's fine. But that's America's fault. That's America's fault, because look at the history. The history gives you certain facts. And then when Fauci comes on and says, hey, my brothers and sisters, there's a black lady that spearheaded, we don't give it. Once again, I don't care who's black, who's brown that made your drug or made your vaccine. I want to see how it comes about. Don't lead with race. I don't care about who's making it. I don't care what the color of their skin is. I don't care that the first person in New York was black that got it from the hospital and all. Like, I don't care. And that's all I've been seeing, it feels like, in the news and the media about this freaking vaccination. And I don't trust it. I don't care whether it was, I don't trust it. And then once again, you'll have people 5 years from now, the government, hey, were you the first part of the whatever vaccine trials of COVID-19? You could be here for compensation. I'm good. I like my vaccines to breathe for at least 3 years. I'm not even a flu vacciner. So and I've been perfectly fine after I've left the military, after getting all those damn flu vaccines. I haven't taken the flu vaccine since. And that was since 2015, 16.
Well, I do want to say, I do think if you have been seeing a push on that demographic, like them really focusing in, I think that it honestly might be they are trying to pander towards people that might be their seller. I think that is honestly for all of the white people and people that they assume to be like me, you know what I'm saying, who might see that and be like, oh yeah, look at what we're doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Or and I also think that it might be even if it is unsafe and even if your theory is correct, they might be doing that to show you guys that it is safe, or they're trying to do something that obviously is not working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they might be so many.
That's what I'm saying.
Think about the neglect and the medical abuse that black women have seen in the medical field. Think about. Oh, go ahead, Victoria.
Well, in England, I did see this article, and I don't know how factual it is. Apparently, there were 63 women who were tested on a COVID vaccine, and this was like a couple months ago. This was like one of the first trials, and apparently, all of them are infertile now. And like most of them were Black, the women who have been tested. So, and I don't know if that is a true statement or not. And I also did hear that this company who released the virus, who we bought it from, has got caught in a scandal before this and has released something unsafe. Once again, I don't know how accurate that information is. So I think that also might be a reason why people are so
there's so many reasons. Right. And then based off of that, I'm looking at if I type in COVID vaccine and Black America, granted it's a search, so if it's going to populate everything, but you look at most of them. USA Today has the first things that pull up. USA Today, COVID-19 vaccine must be safe, equitable for Black communities. Black doctors are working. Seeing Black Americans take the coronavirus vaccine could encourage more members of other communities. Washington Post, NBC News, experts warn of low COVID vaccine trust among Black Americans. USA Today, and these are all today. Within today and 4 days ago, 4 hours ago, 1 hour. So this is their hysteria right now.
What I also find really interesting about like Google and stuff like that, and I think it's really, really crazy that you just pulled that up and were able to find all that just there.
This is DuckDuckGo too.
If you type in just white doctors, period, on Google, everybody type in white doctors, look at the images. Everybody at home do it too. Type in white doctors to your Google and look at the images. I'll give you a second. I'll give you a second.
Why Americans experience the highest death tolls from COVID-19? You're 2.7 times more likely than white Americans who experience the lowest age-adjusted rates. I don't know. I don't know specifically what the reason is.
Major urban areas, urban environments. So of course it's going to impact us more. Right. And of course it's going to like that. That's no brainer. Like if a terrorist attacks happen or something, like, you know what I'm saying, or like something happens in a big urban city, if you're sitting there and say, hey, what race do you think or what demographic do you think was probably wiped out the most? I'm gonna say probably Black people, because that's probably the majority of that in that area. So that kind of statement is just nullified. It's a baseless statement, because that's the demographic of the urban population.
Right. So if you're in an urban population, you could make the same argument that you're 2.5 more times likely than someone who lives in the suburbs to get it. So anybody who lives in the city, you would think would probably want to get the vaccine.
But it's not about whether you live in city or whatever. It's the fact that this is the agenda, and the American history. This is the seeming agenda of them trying to push towards a certain demographic. This is the same train I've been going on, Jim. Same train, right?
I'm not following. It's not like they're telling white people to not take it. They're
not saying nothing to white people. They're focused on Black people.
I
think they just assume we'll take it.
Exactly, because you guys have. That's the same thing. Your history in American medical, or even in the medical field around the world, has been fine. Do literally. I just after this episode, because I don't want to keep ploying onto it. I will send you so many articles of medical trial and error versus African Americans or Black people.
I'm aware of that, but I think a lot of that you're talking like 40, 50 years ago. I don't think you're seeing that today.
Well,
I don't know within the next 5 years.
Really do.
But I remember in 2013 there was a thing. I'm pulling up right here. There was a thing with a doctor messing around with Black athletes. So
right. I think that's an isolated incident. I think that's one psychopath doing weird stuff to people. I don't know
that's not just one guy. This has been history repeated and repeated and repeated. They're still using Henrietta Lacks DNA. Still using her cells. They call her
mRNA does not.
No. I'm talking about Henrietta Lacks.
I know you're not. Somebody just again.
Nobody said mRNA. I said it was unstable. I said mRNA is unstable. So whoever commented that, go back. But what I'm saying is Henrietta Lacks cells are still dividing, still live cells, and she's been dead since 19 whatever. 1950 somethings, and literally there's a case where they've still the HeLa cells or whatever, they're still being used today in medical science without her family's permission, without her permission. They were so like you can't do.
You also will see when it came to like voting and stuff like that, and even before this year's election and stuff, when you go into Black communities and stuff like that, or just in general, freaking school systems, just everywhere that you go, even voting and stuff is pushed because like honestly, people are trained not to trust the system because there have been so many injustices medically and with voting and stuff. People are taught that your vote doesn't matter, and especially in those communities. So it's almost like, what's the point? So almost that kind of stuff, I feel like really gets pushed. I feel like political stuff, and unfortunately, this vaccine has kind of fallen under that umbrella.
And especially when it's just been pushed and we don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, that's just like if I go to somebody's house, if something doesn't look right in your house, I'm probably not going to eat your cooking. So it's just like the history, the history isn't there for Black America. And once again, I'm not saying I'm not taking it, just not right now. Let me see in a couple of years how everything's going. Let me see. Let a couple more companies
you
get
eat
their
it
bid in.
first.
Yeah, like I'm cool. Matter of fact, I'm all for politicians getting this thing first. So if you know what I mean, if something happens and they all die, at least we'll be all right. You start vaccinating all these doctors and nurses and all these medical professionals, something happens with this vaccine, we're fucked.
I hope that they all get vaccinated on camera like that doctor did, because otherwise we're all just going to get four.
Did you guys not see the former presidents, Bush and Clinton, said that they would all film theirs live as well as Obama?
Oh,
so what?
But
you just said that you don't want to be the first thing. You want other people to take it. You said politicians. I'm telling you, 3 former presidents are taking it. But now you said, who cares?
But so
you just said you want politicians, dude. These are the top. If anybody's getting the good stuff, it's these dudes.
Exactly. That's why they're
not testing that on these guys.
So do you think? So do you think that regular Americans are getting the same treatment that
Pfizer's? You think Pfizer's making like rich, wealthy people stuff, and then like this? I hope not.
You don't think that there's black market or there's other things that rich people have way better access to than us regular folk don't? You don't think so?
I mean, you could probably get it quicker. I don't think there's a better vaccine to be had if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, not right now. But
I want Kim Kardashian getting the vaccine right now.
Yeah,
well, for all the conspiracy theories you laugh and make fun of, to carry on this way makes me question you a little bit.
Question me how? Because I don't trust medicine. Well, not to say I don't trust medicine. I don't trust rush medicine. I don't trust it. No,
I don't think it's rushed medicine. I mean, it took a year.
No, it did not. It took a year, Joe. We're not even out of 2020. Don't even say it took a year.
Well, they started working on it. They started working on it in Wuhan in December. So it's been a year.
Joe. Okay.
Yes, they've been tracking this for a year. Here's the other thing I would argue, Rob.
Get your shot.
You know, listen, the advancements we've made in the last just 5 years in science, the things that we couldn't have done this 10 years ago, they would have been like, hey, we're going to be in lockdown until 2025. It's going to take a while to get a vaccine.
You don't think this is going to happen?
The fact they can even do it this fast like they have, dude, think about the one in 2012, SARS. Remember SARS?
Yes.
You remember the SARS virus? That thing went on a rampage. People were getting it. People actually were dying from SARS. Absolutely. But here's the funny thing. It took them a long time. They developed a virus for SARS. And suddenly, SARS just fell off the map, and nobody knows what happened to it.
And I was just kind of thinking about this. This thought kind of just came into my head because I was thinking about, honestly, it was so fast that we had this cure for COVID, even if it did take a full year. Why don't we have any kind of cure for cancer? What's up with that? This is years in the making, but it's because it's such a profitable business. But also, if there was a vaccine, say somebody came out with a vaccine and said, whatever, this is a vaccine for cancer, I'm sure everybody and their mom would be fucking waiting outside the urgent care right now to go get it. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, cancer is
worse than COVID. There's a way higher mortality rate with cancer than COVID. So it's like if I'm already literally dying, like something's killing me versus a respiratory, I guess, disease or infection, however you want to make it. That's two different things. Like if I have cancer and there's a vaccine for cancer and I'm already dying, all right, I'm already dying. Just at the same point, like you're inserting chemo into your body, you're inserting radiation into your body. You know what I'm saying? So it's like normally, if they're like, hey, there's radiation to cure COVID, just like if you could drink bleach to cure COVID, I wouldn't do that. No. But if it's something of that magnitude and I'm already dying, then yeah, why not? But for COVID,
like, what if it was like to prevent it? Like, say, like you don't have it yet. Like tomorrow, they were just like, "Here's this cancer vaccine."
I would still wait.
I don't know.
I would still wait because, especially with that, because you're like, you don't know what it might give you. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's call me conspiracy. Back to your conspiracy theory part, Joe. Like, it is what it is. And there was something that you said earlier. I meant to type it out before I forgot because I knew I was going to. But yeah. I'm sticking to it. Like I said, get your shot, Joe. When you grow third testicle, send me a picture, and then I'll make sure I don't get that vaccine.
It'll be a really nice third testicle.
There you go. As long as it matches the same size. They all have to be the same size.
I think that we've spent the better part of the last 6 months making fun of people who don't believe in science. You've got the CDC and the top doctors in the world, the top scientists who work for places like I've had friends that work for Pfizer, and there's nothing wonky going on there.
I'm not saying that they are. I'm not here. Let's clarify this. I'm not saying that they're giving Black America a different drug. I'm not saying that the vaccine doesn't work. I'm just saying I want to see them stop pushing a cultural agenda. I want to see them actually make some kind of let's have some kind of like time with this. And yeah, eventually I will get one. I just not right now.
I'm taking you to get one.
Yeah, in like 2023, I'll go right there with you.
Oh my God.
You're not even going to need to get it by 2023 since everybody else is going to have it. It's like
herd immunity will have set in by then.
Yeah. Herd immunity would have set in.
Why not wait it out? Mask up for 30 years.
You know what I hope? You know what I hope? I hope the COVID vaccine gives us superpower and you're the only one who doesn't get it.
Same.
And then guess what? You got to hear me on. I'll piss you off shortly every Monday night talking about how I don't have I don't have superpowers. So, and guess what? I bet you I'd still beat up some Proud Boys with superpowers.
There you go.
Well, now I want to talk about, sweet old Joe Biden. I don't know why I said that. I literally took it back as soon as I said it.
I can say right now, you've opened up a bad can of worms because Rob, the honeymoon, the guy got the officially certified yesterday, and last night Rob was already like, "All right, honeymoon's over. He's already ready. He's done."
Yeah, no, yo, who's for 2024? Right, like who's already up? Who's already up? I told y'all this was gonna happen. I said we're gonna vote Biden out, and once again, I wanted Biden out because I wanted Trump out. Not to say that Biden was the best candidate, right? But here we go with Biden once again being Sleepy Joe, and I can say all that. Like now, I'm stealing all the Trumpito. Now I will say I'm gonna bite off Trumpito a little bit since we don't have to worry about him. Sleepy Joe didn't let us down once again. What did Sleepy Joe do? He combined all his speeches from the past 6 months and put them together, and all he does is switch around which sentence goes where, and that's the same bullshit speech he's been giving us.
He's so creative like that.
So creative and coughing COVID all over the place. Have you noticed that he's been coughing a lot more now that he's won?
Now you're just roasting him for
let's get serious. Joe, Mr. Biden, can you please stop once again pandering to Black community? Like that's the same thing he's still doing. As a matter of fact, I can't even say that. He's pandering in a certain way when it's appropriate for him, and then now he's completely let him go. He's completely dropped his people that got him there. Joe, let's go.
What do you think?
You know what? I think this is crazy that you would say that, but again, this is why I love America. I've already seen any reasonable Republican right now who's already admitted within the last couple weeks that Biden obviously won on November 3rd. I'm hearing this is what I'm hearing the same thing. All he's going to do is put black people on his cabinet. His whole team's women. He's just pandering to minorities, and they're taking offense to it themselves. You're also taking offense to the fact that he wants to put Stacey Abrams in like his cabinet or whatever.
Joe.
Why wouldn't you embrace that?
Joe, I'm talking about his speeches. When did I say anything about his cabinet?
Yeah, but so Rob,
I'm happy.
He's putting the right people in there to make things happen.
Joe, you're talking to the same person that upped him for putting all women in his communications thing. I have not said anything about. I said his speeches. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
It's going to be
you're diversifying your cabinet.
Blah blah blah.
But stop talking and do some fucking action. Stop. And I know you can't do a lot.
He can't do it. He's not even in office yet.
But now just shut the fuck up, Joe. Not you, Joe Biden.
The other one. No, I know.
Like, just shut the fuck up. Joe, shut the fuck up and make your moves. Stop pandering. Like, stop doing the fucking dance and work. Stop fucking dancing around and fucking work.
Now, Victoria, the other reason Rob's opinion here is so interesting is the demographic that was most likely to vote for Joe Biden, not as an oppositional vote to Trump, but because they like the guy, was Black Americans at a 74% clip. White people who voted for Biden, that was a 42% enthusiasm rate.
Well, I think it was like a really big thing, honestly, for Black women to see them have like a VP that is just like representing of them. And I think that Joe Biden.
I wonder how much of it too, though, especially for Black women, is the fact that this was like Obama's like boy. This was his dude.
This was his boy. And it's also, I know I already talk about this. This was also my dude, John McCain's boy. And that is so many other people's boy. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody's boy.
He's literally Uncle Joe. I need Uncle Joe to not be Uncle Joe. I need him to be President Joe.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, Rob, until he takes office. And I mean, I don't expect him to say anything crazy, but my point is with the cabinet, look, he's going to put people who are qualified, who know what the problems are. The person who's in charge of HUD is a person who's actually worked in housing before and understands how it works, as opposed to a brain surgeon,
which is amazing.
Apparently, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but brain surgeons aren't real doctors, according to conservatives, because
they've never delivered a baby.
No babies.
No babies.
And this is where we're at now, huh? Republicans? Is this where we're living? But yeah, I think. Look, I don't. Well, the other big thing, Rob, is going to be what happens in Georgia. And that's also going to, and I hate to say it, but that's going to fall on Black people as well. The Democrats will only win those seats, one or the other, or both, if the Black people of Georgia come out and do what they just did in this presidential election. And again, when you look at the enthusiasm, because they don't see this as an anti-Trump vote. They want Joe Biden in there. And I think again, how much of that has to do with Vice President-elect Harris? I don't know. I would assume a lot. Or at least
honestly, that's good enough.
But again, they have to get out there and vote in order to let these people put their agenda in place to actually make a difference, and that it doesn't just become what typically happens, 4 years of lip service.
Well, I just hope that it doesn't fall under the rug, because everybody was so hyped. Everybody was so hyped a couple weeks ago. I hope we just get the same energy for this. People don't forget.
I will say this. I have a couple people that are friends of mine still, because I lived in Georgia. A couple people that live in Georgia. I'm seeing people voting as of today. They're saying that the lines are going out. You have 1.1 or along that lines 1.1 million absentee ballots already requested, or applied, or whatever the terminology is for that. I think that they're going to go out, and of course, I think what's her face. I don't know the congresswoman's the racist slash
yeah, there we go. The racist embezzler. I know exactly who you mean.
Yeah, there we go. So she shot herself in the foot. I think that at least the Dems take at least one of those, which is hers. Maybe the other seat is going to be tough, but I think she shot herself in the foot enough to where she's definitely going to lose. Because even from surprisingly, Chris even said like, "Fuck her."
Yeah, people aren't really feeling her. Well, in the primary, the reason there's even a runoff in that election was because the Republicans ran another Republican against her, knowing that if they won, they could force a runoff and figured they could win. And now that it's her, they're miserable. Which again, just to see where they are right now and to not see, Mitch McConnell, oddly enough, on the same day, Vladimir Putin both acknowledged Biden's win. It's weird. I'll tell you two weird things that happened. Yesterday, no sooner did California certify to officially push Joe Biden over 270 than did William Barr resign.
Did you read his letter?
He wasn't fired. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, dude, can you imagine being treated like that at your job?
Oh my God.
And you get fired. And the guy, listen, they were like, "No, this is amicable, and he did a great job." But like the week leading up, he was like, "This guy's an idiot, he's corrupt loser." As soon as that election was certified, he was clearly asked to leave. And I know they said he wasn't asked to resign. That's nonsense. The coincidence is astounding. And again, I saw this morning Vladimir Putin, one of the last foreign leaders to he sent a telegram from 1875 to Biden,
yeah.
And then
troll.
Yeah, man. Within hours, Mitch McConnell, Moscow Mitch was like, "Hey, all right, Joe, you won." It's weird. It's almost like his handler had to tell him it was okay to say that, which gives me some hope that Donald Trump might actually concede now.
I don't think he's really going to truly concede.
If honestly, Vladimir Putin tells him to, I don't think he has a choice, Rob.
If he wants to get into Russia, true.
Yeah. If you want to come live here and not ever have everyone see the P tape, I'd concede, bud.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he throws a fit. I hope he stays in there. I hope the day rolls in where Joe Biden is lugging his suitcases in and freaking Donald Trump is just like holding tight onto his chair. I hope I get to see that day. I really, really hope I do. I hope that it's not just a peaceful walkout. I really hope that there is I hope he tries to burn that bitch to the ground.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? And I hate to even say this, there was a bit of a prank between the Bush and Clinton people. They took the letter W off all of the keyboards on every computer in the White House.
No, that's funny.
Right? That was cute. And I'm sure you have all heard about the letter that George Bush left for Barack Obama. Wishing him the best. And again, these were just things between these guys, just one good human being to another.
You're not going to see that.
Oh my God, dude!
No letter, my friend.
Biden's gonna walk into the Oval Office.
It's gonna be empty.
It's gonna look like Charlie Sheen went on a bender with 3 hookers.
And I think it's going to look like a good time. I think that it's going to look like
that hooker in the corner. It's going to be chaos.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see all the fun things they find or come out with. And then imagine all the White House staff that might start leaking shit about Trump, Trump and his family. I can't wait. I can't wait for all those stories.
Oh yeah. No, the next few years are going to be loaded with that.
Yeah.
Well, next I kind of wanted to talk about something that is it's a personal matter. I guess. Me and Joe were kind of talking. We wanted to get onto more niche topics, so I figured I'd throw this one in there. I wanted to talk about Gen Z and how we're different than literally everybody else in the world. We're different. We're just different. And why we're losers, but why we have an excuse to be losers. So I kind of just wanted to talk about that because personally, I relate to it. So, there's Google it. Obviously, everywhere you look, you find articles about Gen Z being the most depressed generation. We're anxious, even millennials, everybody's constantly making fun of millennials, saying that they're always on their phone, that they're snowflakes, and I also just wanted to make it real clear. Gen Z is not the same as millennials. It's not the same. I believe Rob is a millennial, but we're not the same.
I was gonna say, can we get like a age kind of bracket for this? Because I'm still used to this. Because I remember when millennials weren't me, and it was like more you guys, and now it's switched, and I'm lost. So
Okay, so I'm Googling. I believe millennials end. Okay, yeah. So millennial is 1891 to 1996. So Gen Z is, 1996 or 97 to current. I'm not sure when it ends, but
you said 1891 or 1991?
19.
Oh,
19.
oh, I'm not even a millennial. Jeez.
Yeah, she did say
millennial?
1891, but
Oh, I
that's
did?
definitely
Oh,
not-
sorry.
Yeah, but you don't speak 1900 talk. You don't know what you're saying there.
What are you gonna do?
Since
1890,
1981.
1870. She doesn't know what that means. That
What are
doesn't
the
mean anything
1981
Victoria
to
at all.
1996.
81. Okay, so yeah, okay. I'm a
81 to 96.
Okay.
So,
So,
Rob,
yeah.
you're a millennial,
Yes, I'm a millennial.
and
Mhm.
Victoria, you are the Gen Z.
Right.
And I'm the old big brother Gen X, the cool guys. We're
Gen
Is
just
that the only name that they have for it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you have baby boomers before that.
Baby boomers.
yeah. Those are our psychopathic lunatic parents.
Yeah. Good times. Well, my parents are in your generation, so
They're mine.
they're yours.
Gen X.
So they're like the same exact age as you. So we're Gen X. We're dealing with that there. But I don't know. It says from immigration to sexual assault are causing significant stress among members of Gen Z, obviously with mass shootings topping everything that's going on right now. I don't really even want to focus on school and stuff right now because obviously that's a struggle for people. I know that's like a really big thing, but I do not think that really has much to do with the depression and anxiety and mental health issues that are going on with Gen Z. And real quick, I kind of just wanted to ask, what does the generation look like from the outside? Do we look like a bunch of assholes who get handed everything? Because I don't know. I think we all know getting healthcare and housing, it's not the cost of a jelly bean anymore.
Mhm.
So what do we think about that?
I'll say this. I think Gen Z is the voice that millennials always wanted to like voice, but never kind of was like, all right, we're just going to kind of figure this out on our own. I felt like Gen Z is like, hey, fuckers, we're not going to sit here and keep, we're not going to keep losing like you guys were. Like, we want answers and we want them now, which I love about Gen Z. Like, you guys ask so many questions. You guys want to know the facts. You guys ask the questions and you guys are like, hey, so like, I remember when like this whole millennial Gen Z's conversation first kind of spiked up. And I'll say I was on the side of, Gen Z, they just need to toughen up. I was like, they're just soft. But looking at like the things that go along, and then also looking at like how I grew up versus how like you guys are probably growing up, it's different. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in the boom of like the technology era, like when, Facebook, MySpace, all those things, first came about when we were young coders before we knew it. You know what I'm saying? When you had to apply a whole code to your MySpace page to get like fallen stars to come off of it, right? But like you guys were in the heat of it, like in the middle of all this shit as it built up. So like you guys were coming up when Twitter was really, really nasty. You guys were coming up when cyberbullying was like popular. Like, you know what I mean? Like when we were coming up, cyberbullying was fun and comical on AIM and all this other stuff where you guys are getting screenshots and you guys can't live in privacy. You know what I'm saying? Like the restrictions are way less.
Well, I just feel like everything with the internet, it changes so much. And I feel like it affects every generation. I even saw on Instagram the other day, there was this new update where if you get DMs, you can make it so they automatically vanish. I think that the internet and technology has just changed relationships, school, self-image. I've never had a life where I wasn't going on the internet and comparing myself to people. And I know that might sound like so crazy, but even like right now, I don't look like this, like ever. I look like this when I'm on here. And when I'm in the world, I usually look like a homeless person. When I'm on here, even sometimes I look like a homeless person. It's just like most of the time what you see is just not at all what you get. And it just makes you feel so fucking horrible.
See, I like you on Instagram. I like you on Instagram because you look like the 19-year-old that's having fun. on here, it's not to say it's a bad thing, and
No filter.
And I can express this with you, Victoria, because we have a certain, you know what I mean? Like we have a certain rapport with each other. Like here, you have that glammed up look, which is amazing, right?
Right.
But you, behind the scenes, everybody does it. Somebody could come on here, and we've had this conversation before. One of my friends tried it, and I was like, dude, no, first of all, you're sick. Like, he's young, and two, we're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what's gonna happen. And he was like, oh my God, I thought she was a lot older. So when I'm, you know what I mean? You have that more mature presence because like you said, you've never had a life away from outside of the internet. So like you guys have to have a certain image. You guys grew up with Kim Kardashians and all these other, you know, celebrities and always in makeup and Instagram and looking at that all the time. Whereas like when you see you and like if somebody ever followed you on Instagram, you'd be like, holy shit, she's just a little kid and she's enjoying life. And I feel like you guys are forced to play like two different roles.
But it's also like even now,
it could be tough.
If people find my stuff from now, since I have always had access to this, I still have Instagram accounts. Oh Lord, please don't go looking for them, everybody.
Accounts?
Yes, I have several Instagram accounts from when I was a literal child.
Jeez.
And there's nothing that I can do about it. There's no way that I can take that down. There's nothing that I can do about it. I have Twitter accounts from when I was a child of saying things that I would never say now. But people will have access to it for my entire life.
And that's worrisome because at that young of an age, you had access to that kind of stuff. And here you are on Twitter, like, or you know what I'm saying? I know how adults let it off. I remember how I was letting it off in 2012, 2011, when Twitter came about, and Twitter, like you can go on Twitter and Twitter was a shit. There was some things on Twitter. I can only imagine being your age, that young, and having that access to the whole world. You grow up super fast. I can only imagine. Anybody would. You know, like you say, yeah. Go ahead.
I sent my first instant message in 1993. And I didn't get like internet crazy till like 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of dabbled. I had a MySpace page. Made the quick trans over to Facebook. I got a Twitter. I don't. Here's some things I don't understand. And I blame the parents, particularly people that are my age, who have kids, Victoria, that are your age.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of perfection, this idea that you have to be perfect, your grades have to be. I mean, it's not realistic. You should work to the best of your ability. You should be encouraged, but my wife, for instance, my son likes to jump off the couch.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do that when I was a kid, but it was the 70s. Nobody gave a shit. You just jumped off couches. That's what you did. I fell out of a birch tree once, about 20 feet to the ground, and landed on my face. And I'm fine. My wife's always like, don't stop. And I said, listen, the first time I jumped off the couch and I missed and I cracked my face on my dad's rocking chair, I learned distance. And I learned how to fall and catch a fall. When I was 21, a buddy of mine asked me if I wanted to try his motorcycle. I told him I'd never driven a motorcycle before. It's a refurbished job. Nice little Kawasaki. I didn't know what to do. He showed me. I pulled back and instantly was going about 35 miles an hour into my backyard into a tree. I bailed on the bike. I dove headfirst into a beautiful somersault, ended up back up on my feet as his bike crashed, heavily damaged into a tree.
But at least you landed the flip, though.
I did. It was insane. And it was so funny because it was like 4 or 5 of my buddies hanging out, and they were like, "Oh my God, dude, how did you do that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I wasn't like, dude. I'm not like Bruce Willis in Die Hard. I didn't like jump off this thing like, oh, you know what? I should do a dive here." It was
a triple axle front flip.
Yeah,
it was an instinctual move based on I've been falling on my own my entire life, and no one ever made me wear a helmet or anything. I played high school football. I'm sure I've had concussions. I could go on a murderous spree at some point, from what I understand from doctors. I'll try not to. but nobody protected me. And I was resentful of my mother when she wouldn't let me work independently. I think that's a big thing for kids now. This idea that, if Victoria's wrong, that her mom needs to go out there and seek justice for it. When Victoria's a woman, Victoria could take care of business on her own. Mommy doesn't need to hold her hand.
Well, that's the thing. I think that is like kind of a idea that has been pushed so much that there has been a lot of hand holding in my generation and stuff. But honestly, I think that we are to a certain extent, because I do know that the age that people are still living with their parents and all of that kind of stuff are going up. But I think that this generation is the most independent that we have ever been. I think that we have the most independent thinkers ever. I think that we have the ability to be able to formulate our own thought processes in a way that no other generation has been able to, due to the information that we have access to. I think that, we've just been on our own in so many different ways.
I became a bookie at the age of 14 simply because nobody told me I couldn't. I had a paper out. I had some cash in my pocket and friends who didn't know how to bet on sports teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think my generation, I used to go home every day after school at Victoria, get home around 3. My parents didn't get home till like 5:30 or 6. I would order a pizza, go about my business. I had a favorite soap opera. My daughter Eden literally is named after the main character on Santa Barbara. I paid my own bills. I made doctors. I lived my life like the best I could. And I guess it's easy when you're a white dude, because my experience all through life was when anybody made fun of me, I just punched him in the throat, or threatened to punch them in the throat. And that generally worked as well. And so people didn't fuck with me, generally speaking. 1 in 5 people in this country has mental illness. 20% of those people are dealing with serious anxiety issues. 50% of the people, so 50% of 20% of our population that has mental illness has not had treatment probably in at least 2 to 3 years at this point. So there's a lot of people who have issues. Back in my day, when you were autistic, they just slapped the shit out of you until you gave an answer, or you were 18 and they could send you out into the world. Mm-hmm. We didn't know what any of that crap was. I have a daughter that's autistic. I understand it's real. I look back on it now, Victoria, and I'm like, oh, I could pick 5 or 6 kids out in my school that were definitely autistic. Mm-hmm. I could tell you right now about 4 or 5 girls I went to school with in my lifetime that I'm certain were sexually abused. Mm. I can look back on all these things now, and I know people were suffering, and I know people had problems. I think the biggest problem we're dealing with is social media. What we used to have, it's funny, you guys mentioned bullies and how there's online bullying. When I was a kid, bullies just kicked your ass in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It was generally constricted just to playgrounds and bathrooms. Those were the only places you had to worry about getting bullied. And now it's literally in your pocket, in your hand, round the clock. Where the other funny thing is, there's this constant competition to be better than, to be to be up to date and pretty and cool and smart and get all the likes on Facebook and have all the followers. But listen, life is a marathon. It's not a race.
No.
And in the end, it's against yourself.
And I think
there's nothing to win. There's nothing to gain in life other than your own happiness. And when you guys spend so much time trying to find your happiness and not just doing what makes you happy, I think that's why you guys are anxious and depressed and sad. And again, I think it's because your parents are idiots who generally push you into what they want you to do when they themselves, my generation told our parents to fuck off and mind their business. And now that our kids are doing it, we're like, shut the fuck up. Do what I say.
I think the biggest thing
Doesn't work.
Is those same people who are able to be like, when they had disagreements or when they were going through stuff like is happening right now, they were able to say fuck off and then go and leave and do whatever they want. I think that the problem now is, because I'm dealing with it right now, I'll even say it, life is so expensive, and I make honestly so much money for my age, and I still can't even afford to go get a studio apartment for myself, or I am not able, like, I can afford it, like I have the money to do so, but they won't accept just my name on it. They won't. So it's like, really,
And
what do I even do? Like, so it's like when your parents are, and I know, and this is why I'm talking about it, is because I know that so many people are in my position. When your parents are telling you that your mental health issues are fake and they're not real and that you're not actually going through anything, when you have, when you just feel like you have nothing of your own, I know how hard that can be, especially when it seems like there's no feasible way that you yourself can pull yourself out of it. Especially when it seems like this country has made it so hard to do so. And then rank on us and say, why is there no homeless epidemic? Or why are all these kids still living with their parents when they're 25? I think
smartest
that
in the world. And I think that's one of, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, yeah, I was done. Continue, please.
That's the smartest thing in the world. And I think that, like, you guys have a lot of great ideas that, like, who cares if millennials and Gen Xers don't agree with it, right? I tell myself now, I look back at it, and my mom even said this before. She goes, if I could have changed it, I definitely would have had everybody stay in the house as long as possible to get you guys on your feet. Even though my dad was one of those, like, hey, if you're a guy and you're 18, why are you in my house? And I think about that now, like with my son, like, I'm not kicking him out any old time soon. Like, you can stay here as much as you can, like, get yourself situated, and figure those things out. And now I look at Gen Zers, right? And I'm like, you guys, there's going to be, you guys have, if you guys are this stressed out right now, wait until you turn 25. You're going to be so much more stressed when you actually do have that apartment, when you do have that house, when you do have those jobs, when you do have all those things going. So when Joe says, like, slow down, like, literally slow down. You don't have to figure it out.
Victoria, have you been to my house? You've been to my house.
Yeah.
Right? Let me tell you something. 3,000 square feet, things worth about 450,000. Okay.
Small flex.
Do you understand the term house poor? Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
I have a big, gorgeous house. To own this thing and pay taxes on it, maintain it, and the mortgage to feed everybody that's in it. Yeah, I mean, on paper, we make a ton of money. You can buy a money pit house and have a family. Holy smokes, dude. You're just throwing money out the window left, right, and sideways. The anxiousness only gets worse and worse as you go. I'll tell you this. One of the things about me, I think people like, and I know my family likes and appreciates, is I'm trying to be, like, really even keeled at all times. I don't ride too high and I never get too low. I celebrate life's little victories, but I don't pat myself too hard on the back. And just the same, when I fail, I don't beat myself up too much. I don't think that you can do that. I know people hate this expression. It is what it is, but I love it. I love it because at the end of the day, there's some shit you just can't fix. There's some things you can't change. All you can do is deal with what you have. I dealt with, in my childhood, a best friend murdering. My best friend's dad murdered his little sister. And then I had to spend time in that house after it happened. And his dad went to jail, and the priest ended up leaving our church to marry the principal, who was the mom. It was a disaster. I went to see a therapist who was then killed in a bus bombing 5 years later in Jerusalem. It is what it is. I could sit there, cry, and be depressed for the rest of my life, or I can deal with what I'm dealing with. The person who was counseling me through the worst thing that ever happened to me, I found out she died from Peter Jennings on ABC Wide World News. So that was pretty crazy. I've been through some crazy stuff in my life. And I mean, at the end of the day, and this is easier said than done, I understand that. I mean, you just have to roll with the punches.
I understand that, but right now I'm kind of talking about, I'm not really just talking about and I understand that like things are traumatic, and I'm not really talking about traumatic experiences or even just being sad or just depressed. I'm talking about like people who have real, well, I'm not saying like real, but like diagnosed illnesses and stuff like that, and people who have real chemical imbalances in their brain and stuff, and like need medication and treatment to get better and don't have the access to that. You know what I mean? And aren't able to do that. Like somebody like me in particular. You know, I have been diagnosed with almost everything under the sun. Mental health, I'm not going to get into it, but I don't have access to any medication, treatment, or anything, and I will not until I am financially sustainable myself as a person, to reach out that treatment. And I think that that is like one of the biggest problems, because like nowadays people like, it has been shown that this generation literally has like chemical imbalances in their brain. You know what I mean? Opposed to like people who are in their 40s and 50s and stuff. If you go and do a brain scan on them, like a neurology report, it looks different. Like our structure is just different because like shit's happening.
No weird evolutionary thing because we're like staring at screens all the time.
I mean, it might have something to do with that, but like certain chemicals get released when you're depressed and when you have anxiety, and different parts of your brain light up. And when you do scans, or when they did scans on like Gen Z and people of other generations, they found that 91% of Gen Z has some kind of diagnosable mental health issue. I'm on the APA.org.
No, so like I hear what you're saying, Victoria, and I think one of the things, and this is just coming from a dumb millennial, which I'm still mad that we didn't get the okay boomer thing, because I think that's amazing. Whoever created that shit, but you know, anyways, what I was saying, like I think that Gen Z does kind of rely too much on like worry, like saying, hey, I got to fix this problem. I have to get like medicated to fix this problem, right? I have to.
I do not think that medication fixes everything, by the way, or that everybody.
And I'm sorry, and I don't mean to make it seem like that's what you were insinuating, but like I just heard, you know, I just heard from you, or what I believe I heard from you was just like, you know, being able to afford the, you know, those certain medications. I'm not saying chemical medications. It might just be therapy or, you know, any of that to help your mental health. I would just recommend trying what I like from Gen Z, what I get to see. You guys are great at like coming together. Like whenever I see like anybody younger that I see on Facebook, like Gen Zers, like every time, matter of fact, I was just on Instagram, and like you had posted a picture, and everybody in your comments was, oh my God, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Y'all know how to hype each other up. So like I would recommend like lean on that. Like,
but I wonder how much of that's fake, Rob.
Oh, it's fake.
It's fake, but it's still right. It's still gassing up, right? They still gas you up. Just like with my brother, like he did something what I would consider mid, but like all his young friends were like, bro, you killed that shit. Oh, you killed. So I'm like, you guys actually like big up everybody. Like with me, my boys would be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it. You look stupid. Or like girls would be like, oh my God, you look good. So like I say rely onto that. Like I say that because like even with my sister, she gets the same kind of comments on her stuff. And she's like, and I'm like, dude, they're fucking, whether they're gassing you or there's true, live it up. And that's gonna give you some kind of excitement instead of just sitting there mope like this shit. And that's another thing. You guys feed into that. You guys do like things like this. And then you guys take those trends and you guys feed into it. Like, stop feeding into the depressed lifestyle. Stop feeding into guys.
Who told you guys if you pose for more than 5 pictures that you have to turn and show your ass on the last one? Why do you guys? Who told you that?
I think get mad when guys compliment.
That's me. If you go on mine, I won. It's the first one.
I hate that. I really do. I want to tell you guys something really funny. Last year, a pretty big time real estate agent in Connecticut, a real estate broker, very very well known guy in Connecticut. And I won't call him out because it would be mean. I posted a profile picture, And I wasn't like, I hate that like when you change your profile picture, it has to be something people should comment and like. I hate that that's a thing. People were like, most people just liked it. A few people made comments or whatever. Somebody mentioned how much my son looks like me. But this realtor, he wrote, Joe, you are so handsome. Now,
oh my God.
Slow down. This is funny because I looked at it and I was like, is he mocking me? Is he like, Joe, you're so handsome? Or is he like, Joe, you're so handsome? Or is he like, Joe,
you're so handsome?
I didn't know how to read that.
Read it for what it's worth.
And but that's the thing, Rob. I thought if he's being sarcastic, I don't give a shit. Whatever. I'll take the compliment. That's the other thing. How do I say this without sounding like a douchebag? I don't care what anybody thinks. Period. I mean, not only do I not care what people think of me, I don't care what people think of things, period. If I ask you what your opinion is on something, it's me genuinely asking because I'm curious. But I don't really care. What people think of things or what people weigh in, it really doesn't matter. No one's ever going to make me think or do anything ever or question what I'm doing. I've been doing this for like 23 years. And I'll tell you what, and I think this is the hardest struggle for a human being. Rejection. Rejection is around us constantly. It's nerve-wracking. It makes you anxious. It physically makes you ill. And whether that's chasing a suitor or performing in a play, being an on-air radio and TV personality, boy, I got to tell you, to look dead square into a camera and to say what I'm saying, if I was thinking to myself, I wonder what people think, I wouldn't be able to do it. I would have crippling fear and anxiety. But instead, my approach is and again, this is why it's so important. I spend a lot of time reading and researching. I don't like to speak publicly and talk out of my ass. It doesn't do anybody any good. Like, my stuff checks out. That's important to me because, like I said, how people perceive what I'm saying or what they think of what I'm saying, I don't care. I put factual information out there. How you receive this is not my concern. I'm not here to try to change anybody's opinion about stuff. I don't care what you think. I really don't. All I can do is go out there and be me. I'm not worried about it. 4 years ago, Victoria, I was doing CrossFit 4 times a week. I was eating paleo. I was making like rice and chicken and like cooking every night. And then after like a year and a half of that, I thought, I fucking hate that. I'll be a little chunky. I really don't give a shit. Who am I impressing? Like, really, at the end of the day, who am I? What am I doing that for? I wasn't working out for me. I don't give a shit. I like ice cream.
I love my dad bod.
I'm perfectly content. I'm not here. It's funny. My wife is always freaking out. I mean, we've been in quarantine forever. She's a Gen X. She's right at I think she's the beginning of
millennial.
Wait, what's the cutoff? Is it 81?
81.
So I think she's
96.
She's in that weird zone of like the end of the Gen X where they don't know a lot of the cartoons we're talking about. Like they just sort of came up the back end. Some of it's totally lost on them. Yeah, facts. But she's always super anxious about how she looks and going out. And then I'm like, why do you care? You already bagged the prize, baby. There's there's nothing to gain out there. There's nothing there. You don't win anything by being the prettiest girl at the office party. There's no prize for that.
Joe.
I understand that, but you know what? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. You listen. You need 2 people to give a shit about you. yourself and the
Mhm.
person you want to spend your life with.
What about God, Joe? What
Who's
about
that? I didn't know we were gonna. I didn't know we were bringing up fictitious characters. What about Santa Claus?
God? I just had to do that. I had to
Thank
do
you.
it.
But that's how I feel, and I think I was having a conversation. One of my buddies just commented. I was having a really good conversation with a buddy of mine today. Jared's popping in. Yeah, we'll do God another day. Trust me, because I think that stuff's important too. But we're messing with our kids. We were talking about Santa Claus, and I tell you personally, my wife has been using the to get my son to behave. She says Santa Claus is watching. I mean, what are we living in North Korea? Like we're under 24-hour surveillance? I'm serious. I'm serious. Listen, I kid you not when I say this, and I've talked to therapists about that elf on a shelf thing. The idea that Santa's making a list, that he's watching you, God's watching you. There's this constant threat of surveillance that we threaten our kids with. What's character, Victoria?
To be completely honest with you, I am so terrified that my dead grandmother is just constantly watching me, and that if there is just like another like life or something, that she's gonna see me and be
Give
like,
him a show.
Live
your life, girl.
I can
like that's like my biggest fear is that my dead grandmother is
tell you right
me.
now that this is it, and there's nothing beyond this. Your grandmother couldn't be any more dead at this point. Just like my grandmother.
Jesus Christ.
He's dead too. Never existed for that matter. But yeah, Santa Claus is fake. And I'll tell you what, if your kid looks you in the fucking eyes when they're 8 and they're like, is Santa Claus real? And you're like, yeah, he's real. So you better be good. You're fucking up an opportunity literally with your kid. You're missing you're looking your kid's coming to you with the most important question of their life, and you look them dead square in the eyes with everything you have, and you're doing it for yourself, but you're like, I just want to keep it up for one more year. Yeah, Victoria, Santa Claus is real.
My mom still tells me Santa's real.
I have a question. If your son, let's say we're at the park, we're at a play date. Matter of fact, me and my son are at your house with you and your son. Yeah. And for some odd reason, he comes and says, hey, Donnie's dad, is Santa real? What am I to say to him? Can I tell him no?
You're gonna probably want to ask your dad about that.
Okay.
But if you told him no, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, if you're asking me if I would have a problem with you lying to my son, the answer is no.
Okay.
Please don't lie to my son.
If Donnie asks, please don't lie either. Break his soul.
Again, dude. I mean, I don't say it to break the kid's soul, but I want your son and I want my son to know that when they ask me a question, I'm not going to lie about it. And then later on, tell them the truth and be like, nah, I was just fucking with you then. Because that doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me in the future. When I'm like, so what are these weird feelings I'm having down below? And you're like, well, that's just God giving you the willies. Don't sweat that. I mean, you can't talk to your kids like that. And when you treat your kids like you got them wrapped in a bubble and you talk to them like they're stupid, what do you expect them to be other than anxious, unfocused? I mean, my God, what can you imagine having like the most powerful computer in the world in your pocket at school where they're asking you really hard fucking questions and you can't take that thing out of your pocket? I say teach
Miss
kids
Girl, where there's a will, there's a way.
Teach them with the phones, because I'll tell you what, I've had so many times, dude, where I've been out with people and we've had discussions, we've had arguments, and it's, hey, we'll just agree to disagree. And I'm like, fuck you, I got a smartphone. I want to make you look stupid. I'm going to look it up right now.
Oh, I always had to Google it.
Stuff up.
Fact check.
Look stuff up.
Oh, always. That's on my book. Anytime I even got the little suspicion about anything, literally, let me tell you, 5 minutes before this, I looked up who with the Quran because I was having a fight about it. I need to know. It's fact check.
You got to. And I don't understand why a lot of people don't do it. You have it literally at the palm of your hands, like all day, every day. Like fucking, Look it up. Google that shit. GTB. Anybody say that anymore? Am I dating myself as a millennial? Google that bitch. I used to love that shit. GTB. All my soldiers would be like, hey, sorry, GTB, man. Get the fuck out my face. GTB. What does that mean? Google that bitch.
Victoria, do you agree that if your parents treated you as a person with and they took you serious all the time, that things would be different, that you would feel better about yourself, that you would understand that you're not living in a rat race?
Well,
I don't mean without your parents. I'm sure they're lovely people. That's certainly not where I'm going with this.
My experience was different than most people's growing up. I've gone through some funny things. You know, I've gotten the okay to talk about it. One time I was left at a gas station willingly by my father, you know, so I never really was taken seriously ever. I've had it rough, had it a little rough. So, yeah, I guess maybe that's why I am 45 in a 19-year-old's body. So maybe if that can give a little perspective, yeah. So maybe, yeah, maybe that could be true. I get it. I definitely see how that rings true. You know, I don't plan on. I think I'm definitely going to keep the Santa tradition going, but I cannot feasibly tell my child that a fairy takes their tooth. That don't make any sense.
Can I tell you a funny story? Actually, I'll make this brief. My daughter Eden is 19. When she was, I want to say 10, she comes up to me and pulls me aside because her sister's 2 years younger, and she goes, "I got a question." And I go, "I got an answer." She goes, "Santa Claus isn't real, is he?" And I just like this. I went, "No." She goes, "Are you Santa?" I said, "Well, in this house I am, yeah." I said, "In other houses, it's just their parents." She goes, "Yeah, I thought so." And then she starts to turn and she stops. She goes, "But the tooth fairy's real, right?"
Did you say no?
Yeah.
I said, "Well, we'll see."
Oh, come on.
She knew the answer, Rob.
Okay.
She knew the answer. She knew. Again, the idea is, I mean, I also don't feel like I need to tell her certain things. You know, I'm raising my daughter the way I think my parents should have raised me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, to answer Frank, yeah, I mean, I'm an asshole, you know. And he asked a question earlier. Do you make your kids pay? Yes. My daughter pays to have a podcast on this network. My daughter pays part of her car insurance every month. Got to have skin in the game.
Responsibility.
You don't got skin in the game. Listen, if you're not paying money towards your car insurance, you're gonna crash into everything because you don't give a fuck. There's nothing in it for you. You're gonna have to get yelled at by your mom and dad, who are gonna pay $4,000 on the deductible. You'll have a new car in about 6 weeks, so everything's gonna be fine. Do you ever lie to them, Joe? To my kids? No, I don't. I never do. I remember when my kids found my marijuana supply for the first time. I had to have a sit-down conversation. And I also had to explain to them that things like marijuana don't... My children thought marijuana could kill you. I don't know what they teach in the DARE program, but that's fucking stupid.
Do they still have the DARE program?
My daughter was, honest to God, convinced that you could die from smoking marijuana. And I said, whoever wrote this is a fucking idiot. This is a person who's teaching my children shit? Really? Have you ever smoked marijuana? Do you have any idea what it is? I mean, stunning. I saw a teacher just earlier today on our local town page talking about, you'll see Trump's gonna win. Okay. That lady teaches at my fucking high school. My tax dollars are going to some dumb fuck like that. Of course, these kids are rattled.
Yeah. Can I make a quick point out, since I've started my my Parler account? Who pays for none of that, and it's very expensive.
Victoria.
It's my mother.
Oh, outed. Oh man. I just want to point out that I have a Parlor account, that app account now. And the first couple names that I say I should follow: Sean Hannity, Mark Levine, Tucker Carlson, Phil Robertson, Tito Ortiz, Christy Alley, Travis Tritt, and Governor Christy Noem. Just those are the headline names for that specific app we mentioned earlier. I figured I cut the tension because Victoria didn't look like she liked that comment too much.
Oh, no, I didn't, but it's okay. What are you going to do? I mean, everybody goes through their own experiences and everybody's got their own perspectives. Let me tell you that.
So, listen, my daughters, their mom left them like 10 years ago. And they've talked to her once since. I mean, right? That's their cross to bear. One of my daughters goes to therapy every week. The other one's like, I hate the bitch. It doesn't matter. She's sort of taken my attitude of it is what it is. It sucks to think that your mom doesn't love you, but that lady's got mental problems. They're undiagnosed. And so she's gone. And it's the best thing that could have ever happened for them. And when these kids think back on it, they realize that, again, that's a hardship that they've had to experience. One has one of my kids has ADHD. She's riddled with anxiousness. I get it. I mean, I can't tell her to like chill out anymore. I think some people are just anxious. I just think that's what happens. But you have to do what you got to do. You got to make the best of things. And I feel bad for your generation because, again, we're giving you all the information in the world and then telling you that you can't use it most of the time. Can't use it when it's important. And you're also living with what we're all living with, which is the boomer generation and the generation before that, the old inglorious bastards or whatever they're called. They want to make sure that you suffer every anguish that they had. They want you to walk a mile in your bare feet up a hill to school because they did. I remember when my mom, when I was like, when I figured out that church was bullshit and religion was nonsense, I asked her why we had to go. And she said, because her parents made her go. And I was like, what? Break the cycle, lady. Break the cycle. We don't have to keep doing the same old shit. I find the idea of Christmas preposterous. We literally take a day out of our lives to celebrate a person who didn't exist on a day when he most certainly wasn't even supposed to have been born. I don't understand why we do this. It truly makes no sense. We continue this myth and this. It's a lie is what it is. And I don't know why we continue to perpetuate those stories. Noah's Ark never happened. Not a real story. And we teach kids that stuff. They sell toys based on that garbage. Cameron Crowe made a fucking movie about it.
Give tax brackets.
I mean, come on, dude.
Tax
oh, sure. Right on. Meanwhile, they're sitting there preaching at the pulpits while they're enjoying tax breaks. But we'll save religion for another day. I didn't want to necessarily
say that for our pitch.
Was it making a better life for our children the point of our suffering? That's my thought. I mean, the student loan argument that I hear my generation make about Bernie Sanders and your generation. It's like, well, I had to work 3 jobs to get through school and suck dick for money. Is that what you want for your kids? Really? I mean, is that what
the bar? Want? Is that the standard?
That's the bar. Is to get under the bar. I mean, what in God's? I mean, why? Why wouldn't you want to make it easier and better for the next generation? Who are these horrible people making all of these decisions? And it's like, well, look, I had to go through this, so you're going to need to suffer just as much. I don't understand that mentality. I don't.
If I have the answers, I'm giving them. I'm sorry. If I have the answers to the test, I'm giving them. Point blank, period.
Jared says, I don't ever want them to walk in my shoes. Not a step. That was the point. Absolutely. Yeah. We did it so that we can share our experience with you so you make better decisions. we touch the hot stove. But listen, that doesn't mean that you can't get near a hot stove. I think there's a point where, I mean, when I was a child, I put my hand on a hot stove literally like an idiot and burned my fingers. And I remember my dad almost antagonizing. He was like, "What did you think was going to happen?" And I was like, dude, not for nothing. Why do you think I touched it? Because I didn't know what was going to happen. If I knew it was going to instantly singe my fingers, you could bet I wouldn't. But it didn't occur to him to say anything before I touched it. Weird.
I mean, I definitely think that everybody has to learn from their own experiences, and everything is just theory until you live it. And I think that that's the best thing about this show is that we have 3 people from 3 different perspectives. So, get the best input. You can find us here every week. We're usually on Mondays. Sorry about that, y'all. I was dying. There's nothing I can do about that. So you can usually find us on Mondays. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, the works. Make sure to join Rob on Monday nights at 9. I'll piss you off shortly. You already know. All right, see you next week. Bye.